Welcome, everybody. We are lucky to have on here award-winning writer, artist, Chris Giarusso.
Hello.
So glad that you're joining us today. So how you got here is recently I picked up that Hulk 181 homage cover because I've been seeing your Marvel, the mini Marvels, the old Marvel handbook, the official handbook covers.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they looked absolutely fantastic, and they brought me back to when I used to read those when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, let's see if Chris wants to be on the show and talk about what he has going on right now and how everything's going. So what do you have coming up? Anything that you really want to talk about that's coming up?
I mean, the Hulk 181 cover you just mentioned is pretty much the most recent thing that I've got coming up.
Right.
And then I did it. They just announced through Paper Cuts. There's the Flash Gordon anthology.
Okay.
I think most of the work is done by Art and Franco of Tiny Titans.
Oh, we've had Franco on. He's been on a show before.
Yeah. So Franco wrote me a 5-page story that I drew for this new Flash Gordon anthology, which I think is coming in October.
Okay.
So I'm, 5 pages among many other brilliant cartoonists involved, and other than that, I'm just plugging away on pitches and stuff, and hopefully something else will come up.
You have any more of those Marvel homage covers coming out?
Unfortunately, no. That Hulk cover was the last one that was scheduled.
You did an Avengers one, right? You did a couple of X-Men ones, right?
Did the 4 X-Men covers, right. The connecting covers.
Yep.
And then the Marvel Universe covers. The Avengers, is that you talking about the Deadpool?
I was looking through some stuff today, and didn't you do an Avengers #1 homage one?
Nothing that ever got published. I do a lot of the recreations as commissions, but right. That one was never published by Marvel.
What about the Toxic Avenger one? How did was that just that was an actual cover, right?
That one also, it's funny because the last thing I posted about that was like, everyone thinks this is a cover, but it's not. It was just, it's a pinup anthology, or it's a pinup book collection of the Toxic Avenger pinup book. So I figured I'm getting all the Marvel attention. Let me keep that going. Let me just keep working that same gimmick. And the guys at Ahoy were like, yeah, okay, cool. That's great. But it's a double page Fred inside the book.
Okay, so it is in the book, so someone can pick that up. It's not the cover, but it should be.
Yeah.
But it's
actually, I have it right here. Actually, here's what the cover actually looks like. A little risque.
A little bit.
Now here's my spread. Yeah. But if you want, you can just do this. Now it looks like...
There's a cover. There you go.
Now it looks like a variant cover.
That's when I saw it, I was like, wow, I was like, that is a fantastic idea to take that official Marvel universe and put it as a Toxic Avenger cover.
So, yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Oh, it looks absolutely fantastic. And I mean, the mini Marvels have just been... It's a great throwback to some older times for us longtime collectors who, yearn for the olden days.
Yeah.
So how did mini Marvels? You've been doing those for a really long time, right? You started in '99.
Yeah.
So how did that start? How did the?
At the time, I was working in the bullpen at Marvel in the production department, but I was, an aspiring cartoonist, and so somebody had my friend Greg had recommended to Xena, who was the editor in charge of the bullpen bulletins page,
right?
Or there's like a promotional page they put in every comic. Xena Starpin was in charge of that, and Greg Schiegel had said, "Hey, you should give Chris just let him do one of those comic strips in there, and then you don't have to fill up. That's like a quarter of the space. You don't have to fill up." She's like, "Yeah, I like the sound of that," and so she gave me my first regular published work at Marvel. That's when the mini Marvels was born. Yeah,
and I mean it's 26 years later, and you're still going strong with them.
Well, strong. That's I'd say occasionally.
I mean, those variant covers were great. Any talk of doing like a whole comic like that?
I would like to. There's two collections of my work out right now. The Hang on just a second. Yeah, this is the newest one. It's Hulk Smash. And there's another book called Spidey Sense.
Right.
But the two of them is currently like all the work.
Oh, so look for those. Those are, you could probably get those at your local comic shop. Look for those.
Yeah.
But if they don't have them, make sure they get them.
Ask about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic to look at. I love how you're reimagining covers. Me personally. I like those homage covers. It's a nice throwback to when I collected when I was younger. What now? G-Man is your big. That's what you're most widely known for. In the comic world.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I know I've been seeing G-Man on shelves for a long time.
Well, that's interesting because I think most people just know me from Marvel because everyone knows Marvel, and they say, "Well, here's my book, G-Man," and they go, "Huh?"
As soon as I saw the Marvel covers, I said, that's the guy who's been doing G-Man for
okay, that's
years
interesting.
now.
That's nice.
I'm a comic shop guy, so I'm there all the time. So I peruse the shelves quite often. So, and your art stands out. It's different than everything else on the shelves. It jumps out at people.
Thanks. Yeah, G-Man's my creator-owned stuff, and had a few graphic novels published with Image.
Right.
But it's been out of print for a few years, longer than a few years now. I'd like to get more G-Man work done or get it back in print. But it's just, lots of things pile up on you, and you keep just procrastinate, put stuff off.
I know, but it seems like it would be something that would be perfect for the shelves right now. The way things are there's a lot of those kid-oriented books trying to get the kids back into collecting and build that next generation. G-Man seems like one of those perfect segues into that, and I'm surprised that you're not doing it still.
Well, it was it had its moment, and it kind of just I feel like it ran its course. I just got a lot of. Initially, I got a lot of enthusiastic encouragement,
right?
And then after a while, it kind of like that. Just kind of I don't know. The feedback kind of turned, and I was like, okay, I guess it just kind of felt like it was a dead end. So I'm not sure exactly what the future of that is. I mean, I've been doing a G-Man webcomic for 10 years, and nobody
wants to collect it into a.
Nobody even knew that I had the webcomic. No one's like reading the webcomic. So, I don't know what I'm going to do next at this right now. Unfortunately,
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's not good feeling scatterbrained all the time and having all these goals and none of them get accomplished because something comes up that you didn't anticipate and you have to do that project. And I don't know.
So let me ask you a question.
The mini Marvel universe and the Hulk cover and all that kind of stuff, that I'm really happy and appreciative that I had those opportunities. So hopefully there'll be more of that, but right now there's nothing to talk about.
But so, do you consider yourself a writer who is an artist or an artist who also writes? Because G-Man, you did both, right? You were the artist and the writer on it.
Yeah.
And you have written in the past. What's your real first love?
Well, I was an aspiring cartoonist, and so people like Charles Schultz or Bill Watterson, Snoopy, Calvin and Hobbes, like most comic strips it's a single writer and artist. Like they did the whole thing. So I was always just kind of geared to do it that way. I was always wired to do it that way. So I wrote most of the mini Marvel stuff too. Occasionally somebody else came in and wrote stuff when the people at Marvel said, "We want someone else to write this." So I'm like, okay, you can't say no.
Right.
So I guess I'm mostly comfortable doing it all myself. But but a few times, yeah, I've drawn. I haven't really written anything for other people to draw though. So it's either been I'm writing my own stuff or I'm drawing something somebody else wrote.
Okay, so you're more of an artist than a writer.
Sure, if you quantify it like that, it's
that's how. But you would like to write more, is my guess.
Yes.
We all want to do more, don't we? We all want to.
Yeah.
So how did you get into comic books? Were you a fan growing up?
Yeah, I was a fan growing up. It was comic strips in the newspaper, then turned into trips to the comic book store. The superhero cartoons got me primed and ready for the characters and the comics, and then the comics were better than all the cartoons.
Same here.
Back in the 80s.
That's same here.
Yeah.
Super Friends and He-Man and all of those. The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I was pretty much hooked for life. And I was always I was drawing as a little kid too. My older brother would draw. I would just copy whatever he was drawing, and we do our own, comic strips, here and there. I used to erase the newsprint from the comics pages. I'd erase the lettering and rewrite. So there, I was purely a writer.
You were writing your own strips. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
To get yourself writing.
Yeah, and I would turn Garfield into Batcat every day, and I would draw a Batman costume over Garfield, which it was pretty easy to do with a black marker.
Right.
And eventually I was like, I have to start with blank paper now and just start from the ground up.
And you grew up in New York, right? You're a New Yorker?
I grew up in upstate central New York, Syracuse.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in Staten Island, so I'm a lifelong New Yorker.
Okay. Well, I worked in New York for a good long number of years when I first worked at Marvel on staff, because they're still based in Manhattan.
Right.
But yeah, I moved around quite a bit. I live in North Carolina now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still in the same place I've always been. And
so Jim Hanley's Universe?
That is correct. I've been going to Jim Hanley's, not consistently, but since 1984.
Wow.
I've actually become very friendly with the guys that own it now. It's been so long, and are
there JHU comics now?
They are JHU
rebranded.
Comics, yeah. Since they bought the store from Jim, they rebranded it as JHU Comics, because Jim's not really involved anymore with the actual shop. It's two of the people that worked for him for many, many years bought it together, and they're actually the sad part about JHU is they're the only comic shop we have now on Staten Island. Half a million people on Staten Island is one comic shop.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What about Comic Book Jones?
Comic Book Jones was. It's funny you say that. You're leading in. That's actually was my comic book shop that in the time frame wasn't at Jim Hanley's, because I'm literally I'm a teacher by day, and my school is literally within walking distance of where Comic Book Jones was. So I would leave work every Wednesday and just a 3-minute drive to Comic Book Jones and go in there and see all those guys, and we've become friendly over the years. They went out of business about 6 years ago.
Man. Oh yeah, COVID.
It was actually right before COVID.
Oh, good timing.
Yeah, and then it was really, honestly, a really sad day when they shut down. The guy wanted to raise the rent by a huge amount, and they were like, we can't do it. And the place sat empty. Let me tell you, they just put a party place in there within the last 6 or 7 months. So it stayed empty for a good 7 years that no one was rented the space. And, they're all spread out. Have you been there? Were you there when it was?
I've been there a few times. Yeah. When they were still open. One
of the staff workers there, Gore, actually works at JHU now. So he's the last remaining holdout of the Comic Book Jones era. He's one of the head staff guys at JHU now. So.
Oh, okay.
And the rest of them are all spread out, but I stay in touch with some of them just because it was such a close knit shop. We became friendly over the years.
Yeah.
And now JHU, we have to keep them in business because it's all we got.
Yeah.
It's hard. I know it's hard to keep the shop going, and You know how the industry is right now.
Yeah, the industry has been, on the verge of extinction for 30 years.
Yeah. Exactly. Since like
Like
1990.
the sky is falling like every single week for 30 years.
And then the diamond thing has not helped anyone. It's got a lot of people scared, but something will come along that will, pull them out of it again. I hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I still buy comics, and I had a stack in here. My pull list in the course of a week is divorce worthy, as my wife says. It's it is bad. With this channel, I buy a lot of comic books in the course of a week or a month. We try to go to 3 shows a month, and we visit shops, and we're trying to keep the industry afloat is what I keep telling my wife. So
what shows do you go to?
So we have in New Jersey, there's basically 1 or 2 shows a weekend. So we go.
Wow.
We do basically anyone that within like an hour and a half distance of us, we go to. We have coming up. We have the Garden State Comic Fest is coming up. That's a big one. I know you're going to be at Terrificon, right?
Yeah, in August. Yeah.
We do that. We do that every year. That's a great show. Have you been there before?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah.
We missed it last year for the first time because he changed the date, moved it from July to August. So we, first time we missed it was last year because we were in Alaska and he decided to change it. So, and this year I love that. That's one of my favorite ones. We go to New York every year. We go to some of the bigger Jersey ones. Even we go to mostly small ones. We do a lot of small conventions and stuff. But I go with my youngest daughter, who's 23 now, and it's just something we've been doing since she was younger. And if you have any kids?
No.
Yeah, if they say yes to something, you do it as long as they say yes to it. So she'll come with me to comic shows, and she buys comic books. She only reads Star Wars, but she'll buy a comic every time we go. So you say yes, I'm gonna go. I was actually trying to convince her to come on this interview with me. It would be her first interview, and she was like, "I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to do this yet." So we'll get there.
Yeah.
What brought you to this point? So what got you to become an artist? Who were your influences?
Charles Schultz, I think, mainly kind of shaped. Like I read that stuff incessantly when I was a kid growing up.
Right.
And I think that just kind of put the wiring in me to do that. And then I got into superhero comics, and it was like, all right, it's kind of a combination of the humor strip and superhero adventure stuff. So I'd say mostly Charles Schultz. And then as I got a little bit older, as a teenager, it was Eric Larson's Savage Dragon comic that really got me just obsessed.
I see that behind you. I see you two Savage Dragons posters.
Yeah.
It's funny. I buy that every time I see number 1. I buy it, no matter. I think I have something like 10 or 11 of them now. So to this day, if I see them in a bin, I pick up Savage Dragon.
Yeah, I know the impulse. I do the same thing. I'm always like, I'll give this to somebody.
Same thing.
I never do.
I just have a stack of them sitting here. I'm like, and I bought 2 more, and
yeah.
And it's still going on. It's a series that is.
Well, that first issue of the miniseries had variants because the logo colors changed. Yeah.
I have a couple of them.
So you gotta get all those.
Yeah. And then I literally, if I see it in a bin, I will just pick it up and throw it in a pile and buy it. It's like one of 2 comics that I buy every time I see it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the collector in me.
Yep.
Have you ever met him? Now that you're.
I got to become friends with him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's where G-Man got his start. Was in backup pages in Savage Dragon.
Really?
Yeah. So he if you've read it long enough, you know that he likes to add backup material as much as he can. A lot of different cartoonists have pitched in pages. So yeah, he gave me the first opportunity to publish G-Man.
So how did that come about? Did you knew him beforehand, or just?
Yeah, I met him actually he came in to town for like one of the New York Comic Cons,
right?
And maybe like 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. Because I think at the time he had been doing like a little bit of fill-in work at Marvel. He'd done a few issues of Thor and some Spider-Man stuff. So I knew that, and maybe Defenders was happening at that point. I'm not sure, but so I knew that Marvel was talking to him. So I went to ask one of the editors. Wait, I see he's listed to be at this New York Comic Con this weekend. Is he coming into the office on Friday? Is he going to be here? I'm like, yeah. He'll probably drop by. So I got all excited, and I drew this giant mini Marvel Savage Dragon piece of art to give to him. And then, of course, he shows up. I was like, "Hey, I drew this for you." And he's like, "I can't just put this in my wallet or something. Like, it's not like it's not even big enough to put in my. It's so big." And I was like, "Yeah, I realized that after I drew it." But he was very kind about the Mini Marvels comic strip. He thought it was funny, and so it was a good first meet,
right?
And so yeah, every time I saw him after that, we were friendly. And at some point, another mutual friend, Jordan White, actually, who's an editor at Marvel now, had kind of put us in a position like, hey, Chris should do backup stuff, and Eric's like, yeah, okay, sure, let's do that. And then I was like, are you serious? Okay, I got it. And then that's how G-Man started.
And how many issues was G-Man with Savage Dragon?
I don't know. It was a lot. There was a lot of backup strips, and then at a certain point, I wanted to do a one shot, and Eric said, "Well, hey, how about this? Do like a one shot with the origin story, and then collect all the strips that were in Savage Dragon. Have like a nice." So it was like a G-Man one shot, and then that ended up getting reprinted as. Because after that initially came out, more backup material accumulated. So that was basically the basis for the first graphic novel, and then the second two graphic novels were like standard, like full issues, chapters.
That original, just for the.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a great story on how you got started. So it really pays on who you know in the industry and how
Well, yeah, networking is it's huge. Connecting with people and finding people that like your stuff, and that's always a part of it. It's just, but I think this is a case of meet your heroes actually paid off.
That's a great story.
It doesn't always go well.
It does not.
Yeah,
but it's perfect for you. Now here you are, 26 years later, right? Still going at it. So I have a couple of questions for you that we like to do during this, and then we'll talk about where people can find you. So it's basically just whatever comes to mind first. Don't really give it much thought.
Oh no.
And we'll see how you do. So if there was any creator you could work with, living or deceased, who would you like to work with?
Well, I mean, I want to say Jack Kirby, but I feel like he's best left on his own. Really?
Most people say Jack Kirby.
I mean, how do you not?
Most creators say Jack Kirby.
Yeah. Okay. So this is rapid fire, right?
Rapid fire.
Okay.
Jack Kirby is the perfect answer for that one.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite X-Men?
Wolverine.
Okay, your first one. We've asked that question so many times. You know what most people say? You know what the most answered one is?
Yes, I would like to know.
For writers and artists, Nightcrawler.
Okay.
Which
I feel like the X-Men popularity is kind of spread out pretty evenly. Like every single character, somebody is
a fan,
significantly a favorite. I feel like there's a resistance with like Wolverine's changed so much.
Yeah.
So I think of 80s Wolverine is my Wolverine. It's a very different guy than he is now.
So that's how the Hulk 181 was a big thing for you then, if you are a Wolverine fan.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the homage is fantastic.
Thank you.
What character would you like to draw that you've never drawn before?
No idea. I'm blank on that.
What about what DC character? If DC came to you and said, "We're going to give you a book. Here's the book. You pick the character. Who would you want to draw?"
I just have to say Superman.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I have drawn Superman sketches, so that's why I kind of like blanked, because I was like, "There's no one I haven't really actually drawn."
But you're the artist on the book now, so that they give and you have your pick.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to do a whole Justice League, but yeah, start with Superman.
That's a perfectly fine answer. What's the last movie you saw?
Friendship, Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd.
Okay. Yeah, it's on my list. Haven't seen it yet, though. What's your go-to snack?
Oh, jeez. I mean,
I told you I was going to ask you hard-hitting questions.
I know. But yeah, I mean, snacking is bad, but I mean, I can pound ice cream like no tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
So I see that you are a big Transformers fan.
You noticed that, huh?
I did. As you can probably see behind me, I have multiple Star Wars and other nonsense behind me. How long have you been collecting Transformers?
Well, since I was a kid, since I was nine or 10 when the Transformers toys hit shelves, right. And it was like, this is better than any other toy that's ever existed. And then when the cartoon came, because it was weird how the Transformers was introduced, and people probably know the story, but like the first commercials for the Transformers was for the comic books.
Yeah.
From Marvel. So, and they did that because they were allowed, it was like a loophole where they're allowed to have a lot more animation in the cartoon. And so the animation was like, I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it's like, okay, there's this comic book. All right, cool. Then I started seeing, I took that to mean this is way too fantastical. You can't make a robot turn into this stuff. It's just impossible to do. And then I found out, like, oh my God, there's really toys that do this. I can't believe it. And then the cartoon I discovered last. That was the last thing that I knew existed, was the cartoon, which was like, I thought it was a lot better than the comic book.
Yeah, the cartoon it's one of the biggest 1980s cartoons. You think about those cartoons from the 80s, He-Man, Transformers,
yep,
Turtles.
It was a golden age.
Oh, it certainly was. I'd go back in a second if I could. So where can people see you? I know you have a bunch of appearances coming up in the near future, including Terrificon.
Well, this month, June 20th to the 22nd, I'll be at Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then there's Terrificon in August. The weekend before Terrificon is I'll be at Comic-Con, Nebraska.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm on most of the social media. Chris Giarusso. ChrisGiarusso.com is my website.
And you can buy stuff on there. You have your works on sale. You have a lot of art stuff on there.
Yeah, I sell post a lot of art for sale there. My books you can usually find just on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. So I don't usually sell comics directly. It's easier just going into a store and buy it.
Right.
People a lot of time they say like, oh well, I want to buy directly from you because I want to make sure that this is the best for you. And it's like the best thing. Usually that means just buy it wherever you see it the first time you see it. Is going to be helpful, because if everyone ignores where they see it on a shelf and waits until that one time they might see the person, that just tells the stores like, we can't sell this, so we're not stocking it anymore. So we want things to sell through stores.
Buy multiple copies. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
What about commissions? You do commissions?
When I have time, I'll do commissions. Right now, I don't have a lot of time, so if I have any extra time, it's easier to just draw something I want to draw, and then post it for sale. If somebody wants it, they can buy it. I'm spread pretty thin right now, so I'm not really open. I'll do pre-commissions for conventions I'm going to be at. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff up there right now for sale. I was looking at earlier this week, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff up there. And if you like Chris's art, the price, buy it. Go online, buy it. Before we go, I would be remiss if I did not ask you about the Throg poster behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, it's funny because I'm a huge fan of that time frame of Thor when Beta Ray Bill takes over at one point, and then Throg comes in a couple of years after that. And I don't think that it gets nearly enough credit on how great those stories were. So that is, if I'm mistaken, you can correct me. That is like the advertisement for when he first is coming into, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it was like hung in comic shops.
Yeah, I don't think it's the original run from that. I found it in at a used bookstore. It was like a Marvel collector's thing or whatever. It had all kinds of cool stuff in it, and that was like one of them. So I think it was like reprinted for this book.
For a book collection. It's awesome. I have all of those issues when he becomes a frog, and great time. And
Walt Simonson is just awesome.
He one of our number ones that we would like on the show is, and anytime we go to see them at conventions, the line is always so long because they're just so nice. They talk
as nice as he is, amazing.
Yeah,
as an artist.
It's him and his wife are just fantastic, and we've come across them at a lot of conventions. Just that you don't have the time to wait to go say hello. Yeah. Would you like to be on the show? But that one of our top we would love to have on our show down the road. But that's a great picture. It's funny, we've done we've done probably about 30 or 40 interviews over the last year. No one ever has a setup like we do behind us. You're the first one that ever had something that is comparable to what we sit in front of.
I share a studio with 4 other guys, and so this is just like my room. Right. But out in the hallway and in the front, the front room, and everybody, it's literally wall to wall, floor to ceiling, action figures, toys, stuff like that.
I'm sitting right now in my basement, and my basement is literally just wall to wall comic books and figures and whatever else I did. I'll show you right here. This is something that hasn't been put away yet, that was bought at a convention, and there's another one sitting over this, just piles all over the place.
Occasionally it starts to suffocate you, and I'm like, okay,
I'm suffocating right now. I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I have summer coming up soon, so I don't have a real job in the summer, so I just rest and.
Yep. Then you get to organize.
That's my plan. When we've been doing the show for about 2.5 years now, and we have not shown where we have our stuff yet because it's just always so messy. And at some point we will. But
one day, everything will be perfectly organized and clean. Someday.
Yeah, someday.
Not today.
Not anytime soon.
Maybe not tomorrow.
No. I really appreciate that you took time to be with us.
I appreciate having me on.
I know you're probably really busy right now, and the fact that you took 45 minutes with us just to chat is awesome. And we'll get this up as soon as we can. If we'd appreciate it if you just posted it on your stuff when it comes up, just to
absolutely
cross promote us. And you are more than welcome to be on the show anytime you want. If you got something coming up you want to promote it, just reach out and we'll have you back on.
Okay.
But I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, Chris. Nice. Right. I will come over at Terrificon, say hello in person.
Okay. All right.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Take care. Bye bye.